After locking eyes with the minister, Elliot tries to run away. Completely panicked, he turns around and runs straight into his friend Luke. "Luke, I just saw your father in the secret room. He was dressed in red. He saw me. He's going to hurt me. Please help me." Luke lowers his head and replies, "I'm sorry, my friend, but I didn't have a choice. It was either you or me." Elliot says, "What are you talking about, Luke?" Luke looks him straight in the eyes and says, "You're going to be sacrificed tonight." At that moment, Elliot understands that even his friend is part of it. He tries to escape the other way, but the minister's wife is already there too. She blocks his path. Elliot is trapped. He drops to his knees, both hands on his head. At the end of his strength, he thinks he's about to die. As you've probably realized, this night wasn't a coincidence. It was a carefully planned scheme. For several days, the minister and his wife had been facing an ultimatum from the occult world. The minister's pact was coming to an end, and to keep his power, he had to sacrifice or initiate someone else. But he'd already sacrificed his entire family. There was no one left. So if he didn't find a new person to offer, they were going to take his son. Luke knew everything. He knew the truth about his parents. He'd grown up with it. He was almost initiated into witchcraft himself, and since he didn't want to die, he chose to betray Elliot. That's why he'd always been so kind to him at school. A long time ago, when he first met Elliot, Luke had told his father, "Dad, I've got a friend named Elliot. He's kind. There is something special about him. I could invite him over for a sleepover. And once he's here, we'll bring him into the secret room and sacrifice him." His mother replied, "Very well, bring him. You know there's only 1 month left before the pact ends. If your father doesn't sacrifice anyone, they'll take you." And that's how Elliot ended up there that night. Everything had been planned for a long time. They bring Elliot into the room. The minister turns on the lights, takes a white powder, and throws it in his face while muttering strange words. "Yes, Elliot, you've only got 1 week left to live. You'll forget everything that happened here, but your life is already doomed. Nothing can save you." Under the spell, Elliot collapses to the floor. He falls into a deep sleep. The next morning, he wakes up in his friend's bedroom. He doesn't really know how he got there. Emily comes to pick up her son. She takes the opportunity to talk with the minister's wife. "We should have lunch together sometime," she suggests. The minister's wife gladly agrees. Emily thinks she's finally entering the world of important people. Without knowing, she's just walked into the next trap. Back home, Alphonse watches Elliot closely. Something's wrong. He's distant, locked away in his room. "Elliot, what happened over there?" Elliot replies in a low voice, "Good thing you gave me your grandfather's necklace. You were right from the beginning. They tried to sacrifice me, but the necklace protected me. They tried to make me forget, but I just pretended. Nothing worked. I saw everything. I stopped everything." Alphonse replies, "I knew it. I tried to warn you, but you chose not to listen. Sleepovers like that in Africa are very rare. I felt something was wrong." Elliot asks, "Do you think I'm going to die in a week? What are we going to do?" Alphonse answers, "You'll keep going to school like nothing happened. Even if we report them, nothing will happen. So just stay away from Luke. Now you know his true face. As for me, I'll explain everything to your mother tonight." Later that evening, during dinner, Alphonse says to his wife, "You see, those sleepover stories almost got Elliot sacrificed. Luckily, I'd given him my grandfather's necklace. That's what saved him." Emily replies, "That's nonsense. He probably had a nightmare. Stop with these stories. You're the one who put that in his head." Alphonse responds, "After everything we've been through, I don't recognize you anymore. Fine, do whatever you want, but my son will never go back there again. If you want to go, go on your own." A week goes by. Elliot goes to school every day. He's fine. He doesn't die. He acts like nothing happened, as if everything's normal. He follows his father's advice. Luke, on the other hand, starts to panic. He finds it strange. It's been more than a week, and Elliot's still alive. He can't stop thinking about it. Meanwhile, Emily grows closer and closer to the minister's wife. Despite her husband's warnings, she spends almost every day with her. She's chasing connections and relationships to feel important. That evening, Luke talks to his parents. "It's been a week since we cast a spell on Elliot, but he's still alive. He's fine. He's even laughing." Panicking, the minister realizes the spell didn't work. He only has 2 weeks left before the pact ends. He must find a new victim. Then his wife says, "If we couldn't take the son, then we'll take the mother. We'll make a plan to get her into the secret room." The minister, his wife, and their son agree on the plan. The next afternoon, the minister's wife calls Emily. "Emily, I need you. Come over to my place. I have guests tonight and I'd like you to help me with the cooking. And above all, don't tell anyone you're coming." When she arrives, she starts cooking with the minister's wife. Everything seems normal until she says, "Go upstairs. I forgot something in the room. Go inside. There are vegetables there. Please bring them so we can make a salad." Eager to please, Emily goes without asking any questions. In that room, the minister is waiting impatiently. Emily goes upstairs, happy, confident, proud to be there. She opens the door, and what she sees is beyond imagination. She screams with all her strength and tries to run away when suddenly the minister's wife appears right behind her. She violently pushes her into the room and locks the door. Emily finds herself facing the minister, alone, defenseless, ready to be sacrificed. And then she remembers what her husband had warned her about. But it's too late. No one knows she's there. The minister slowly steps closer without saying a word. He's ready to make his sacrifice. Emily screams and begs him, but deep down, she knows it's the end. There's no way out. Alphonse comes home from work, tired and hungry. He calls his wife several times. "Emily, Emily." No answer. Emily doesn't respond. He then goes into his son's bedroom and asks, "Elliot, do you know where your mother went? It's already 8 p.m. and she's still not back." Elliot replies, "She left at 5 p.m., but she didn't tell me anything. I just heard her talking on the phone about something related to cooking." Alphonse doesn't understand. He asks, "Cooking? But with who? She doesn't have any friends, as far as I know." He takes his phone and calls her. It rings. On the other side, the minister's wife looks at the phone screen and ignores it. Alphonse keeps calling. The minister's wife eventually turns Emily's phone off. That's when Alphonse realizes something's wrong. He decides to go to the minister's house. He jumps into his car with his son and heads straight there. Meanwhile, in the secret room, Emily is on the floor. She's crying, begging, "Please, let me go." The minister resumes his ritual. He takes out his white powder and pours it over her while whispering, "Great master, here's your sacrifice. Take her and free my family." Emily screams, "No, I don't want to die." But the minister continues the ritual when suddenly the doorbell rings. The minister's wife jumps in surprise. She goes downstairs and opens the gate. And there stands Elliot, with a big smile. "Good evening, ma'am. Luke invited me to spend the night." The minister's wife looks confused. "But Luke didn't tell me." Then Alphonse steps forward as well, smiling. "Good evening, ma'am. You're Luke's mother, right? My wife's told me a lot about you. I'm very pleased to meet you." Meanwhile, Elliot has already slipped inside. Flattered, the minister's wife suspects nothing. Once inside the house, Elliot heads straight to the kitchen. There, he sees his mother's phone. He understands immediately. He runs toward the secret room. On the way, he runs into Luke. Luke says, "You didn't tell me you were coming. What are you doing here?" Elliot stares at him and says, "My mom's phone is downstairs. I know you hid it in that room." Luke replies, "She's already inside. There's nothing you can do. Even if you call the police, no one's going to believe you." But Elliot doesn't back down. He pulls a small necklace out of his pocket and slides it under the door, shouting, "Mom, take this necklace. It'll protect you." Luke lunges at him, but it's too late. Inside the room, Emily sees the necklace sliding under the door. She grabs it and raises it toward the minister. The moment he sees it, the minister collapses to the floor, seized by violent convulsions. Outside, Alphonse hears the noise and rushes into the house. Luke screams, "My mom's in that room!" Without hesitation, Alphonse kicks the door open. Inside, he finds his wife on the floor, trembling, and the minister unconscious, lying beside her. Alphonse helps his wife up, and the two of them try to escape quickly. But Luke, who's managed to break free from Elliot, gets up and violently pushes Emily, trying to kill her to complete the sacrifice. Emily falls from the top of the stairs all the way down, completely unconscious. Alphonse and his son are in shock. They rush her to the hospital. At the hospital, Emily is admitted immediately. The fall was extremely violent. Later that evening, the doctor delivers devastating news. Emily has lost the use of her legs. She'll never walk again. As for the minister, he dies in his secret room because he failed to offer a sacrifice. Luke and his mother try to flee the city, but the evil spirits bound to the minister's pact catch up with them. They cause a car accident, and both of them die on the spot. A few weeks later, Emily returns home, this time in a wheelchair. Sitting there, Emily reflects on everything she's been through since she left her father's house 16 years ago. And in a whisper, she says, "In life, What we chase at all costs can sometimes cost us what's most precious. And that's how our story ends. The wounds of the past never truly disappear. They turn into silent desires, a need for recognition, a hunger to be seen. And when those desires take control instead of wisdom, they push us toward the wrong choices. By trying at all costs to belong to a world that isn't ours, we end up ignoring the warnings, betraying our values, and exposing the ones we love to danger. This story reminds us that true wealth isn't money, power, or social status, but humility, awareness, and love for one's family. Because in life, what we're desperate to prove can sometimes become the very reason for our downfall.